What is up, guys? Your agent Tyler Wayrung here, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through comparing and contrasting the two most popular deal analysis software on the market that I get so many questions about. Now, I have access to both of these. I think you'll be able to tell as I go through this which one I prefer more, but I'm going to try to objectively compare and contrast them both. And full disclosure, I have affiliate links to both of these products, so I don't really care which one you use, but my Deal Check link does give you their best deal, and for BiggerPockets, I think you get a slight discount. And that's really not my intent with this video, but just want you guys to be fully aware. All right, this will also not be a specific instruction panel on how to use either one of these, but rather comparing and contrasting, walking through a deal, what I like and what I find most useful about both of these products. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right, we're first gonna start out with BiggerPockets. And so if you are a BiggerPockets member, you can go to Tools, Calculators. We're gonna do a rental property compare and contrast for both of these softwares. So for BiggerPockets, you go right into Start a New Report, and we're gonna look at a specific property that I've recently actually analyzed, 231 Sherman Avenue. All right. Once you plug that in, it looks like it is going to go out and search and pull some property data in for me. Import successful. You can add a photo here yourself, and you can step through the process here as well, or also hit the next buttons. Purchase price here, we're going to do $70,000 purchase price. Closing costs, we're going to do about $2,000. One thing good about BiggerPockets, especially if you're just starting out, they do have a lot of these little helpers, links that will kind of help give you some background or how you might come up with a cost for this. So I will be rehabbing this property. ARV is $140,000 and repair costs are $30,000. Okay. So you can actually break these out individually if you like to kind of put together a comprehensive plan to share that out. Next, we'll go into loan details. For this, we are going to assume a down payment of 20%, 7% interest rate, no points, over 25 years. So as you can see, just plug that bit in. For monthly gross income, we're going to do $1,250 for rent. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, median rent for this property, low level of confidence. Yeah, that's not a very accurate rental estimate there, but good information. When it comes to expenses, it does pull in your property taxes, which is nice. Insurance, we're going to estimate to be roughly $500 per year. Again, you'll get some helpers here on how to do that. For just comparison's sake, we're going to try to get 35% expense ratio on both of these softwares just so we can kind of look at that. So we do vacancy 5, repairs and maintenance. We're going to do 10, 5, 10, and 10. 35%. You can also break those out into any utilities or other here. So once you get that basic information in there, you hit finish analysis here, and this is what it spits out for you, which is very nice, very UI friendly report here. This is a kind of common figure that most folks are looking for. What's my monthly cash flow? It kind of breaks that down, gives you a graphical representation, breaks it out over 30 years as well. And then it does have, these incomes here with some sliders. This was one of my biggest complaints with BiggerPockets for so long was, hey, I run these numbers. This isn't the cash flow I need, or this isn't the cash on cash return I want. So how do I figure out what numbers make sense for me to get there? And before, you had to go back to the beginning, adjust something, come back to the end and see how that works. Still kind of that way here. So let's assume if I could get 13 in rent, for example, we can see how that changes my monthly cash flow. But what I don't like, and what I'll share in a minute here in Deal Check, is if I need to get to a 10% cash on cash return, what are the figures that can get me there? And without trial and error down here, there's not an easy path to do that. So with that, I will just kind of continue here. It does give you some other nice features, breaking out your returns here. And then your equity, loan balance, property value, with some assumptions baked in how those are going to change over that next 30 years. One of the big things that BiggerPockets was known for was their nice reports. So we can share this out. So this is actually what their report looks like, and their report actually is really nice, especially when you're sharing these out with a bank or a private lender, just to kind of talk about, hey, here's the numbers behind this. I do have somewhat of a plan. I've thought through this. I put some analysis into it. These are really good to share. So this is the BiggerPockets report. We'll compare these in just a minute, but without further ado, that is BiggerPockets rental property calculator. Now let's jump over into Deal Check, and I'll show you a couple additional things about Deal Check. So when you open up, you hit a new property within Deal Check, you have the ability to create templates. And the nice thing about templates is if you buy a lot of deals in a specific area and you get really familiar with exactly, what your financing terms are, when you work with a bank a lot, or, hey, I only buy in this neighborhood, I know typically what property taxes are going to be, etc. You can create templates to allow this to be a very fast process. So my default rental template, we're going to go with that. We're going to hit import data. It does ask if it can hit your location, and it'll pull your property address up a lot quicker. So you see here, as soon as I start typing, I don't have to do the city and state like I did in BiggerPockets. I'll go ahead and search for that. It does show me, hey, is this what you want to pull in? It tells me what the Deal Check estimate is based on some other sources, or I can choose to pull in the realtor.com estimate. We went with 140 over in BiggerPockets. These are close enough that I'll just keep those. It shows me my rent cast estimate, so that's another third-party vendor that it calls out to get that data. As you can see, a little bit more accurate than BiggerPockets data there too. It tells me what my last tax assessment is, tax amounts, property insurance, my sale history, schools. Actually pulls in a photo on its own and gives me a property description. So as you can see, all that was just the address. I hit save property. Boom. I have to hit enter nothing else but the property address to get me to a point where I'm already starting to look at analysis. All right. Now, the one thing here is it uses a lot of the templates that I built in based on my financing templates and my deal templates, okay? So it tells me this is going to be negative cash flow because it assumes that I'm going to be paying retail value for this. But guys, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that we never buy deals for retail value. We're not retail buyers. You need to at least be buying at a 20% discount anytime you're buying an asset, in my opinion. And for rental property, you want to make sure not only are you getting it at a discount, but can you get it at a discount and make it cash flow? All right, so now is where we're going to dig in a little deeper. So now we go to edit, and we're going to change that purchase price back to our $70,000 here. As you can see, it pulled in my financing templates, which in my bank, as you see, I didn't have to enter this in Deal Check because I just know from working with my lender, this is what they are. So 20% down, 7% interest over 25 years. That is assumed $2,000 closing cost every time. Gross rent, to be fair, we're going to keep these the same, $1,250. I do vacancy, and then 35%. So we might be a little bit different here, but that's not the intent of this video. We also look at depreciation period, which isn't a big factor because typically it's always going to be 27 and a half. So anytime you make a change here, again, you go back to property analysis and it gives you this nice spit out here of the same data. So as you can see, cash flow is looking good. We have cash on cash return and cap rate here. So I have to have done something wrong. Oh, I did not enter rehab. Okay, I was gonna say this deal's looking way too good. Let's see, rehab. Let's put in 30,000 here and come back up to analyze. That looks a little more realistic from a cash on cash return perspective. So as you can see, very obvious when you do make mistakes, but very similar here. What I do like more about Deal Check in this instance is once you establish your buy box or your purchase criteria, this quickly analyzes and tell you, hey, this doesn't meet your 10% cash on cash return that you have to have in order to buy a deal. So instead of looking at all these numbers, I come back and say, are there green check marks or are there red X's? And then how do we get the red X's into green check marks, right? How do we make this a deal that fits perfectly in our buy box? And that's where I come to my favorite thing about Deal Check that I use on almost every time I enter a property here, and that is the offer calculator, okay? So, right, I put the numbers in, they give me, what they currently are, but then as investors, we always have to say, okay, how do we make this a deal, right? How do I get this to fit within my buy box? And so if I come here and I say, okay, I need this to be a cash on cash return of 10%, I go back up here and it spits out, okay, if you want it to be a 10% cash on cash return, you can pay, this is your highest offer. you can pay $66,000 and make this deal work. If I wanted to say, no, on this deal, there's a little more risk. I need to get 12% cash on cash return. This is the price I can pay. So there's no sliding of variables and playing a guessing game. This spits out exactly what I need, right? And then I can also stack these things on top of each other. What if I need a cash on cash return and a rent to value at least 1.5? Oh, not 15, 1.5% rent to value. Boom. So it's probably not going to change because it says that it's limited by cash on cash. But the thing is, you can stack these things and make sure that you know exactly what the offer is that you can pay. And this helps because every appointment that we go on, every deal we walk, we do like to leave people with an offer just so they have something in mind. You never know what their situation is. They may want $100,000. A lot of people want a lot of things, but what's realistic is a whole nother story. And you'd be surprised how many people go on appointments and just leave saying, I can't give you $100,000. Good luck. Versus where we like to say, we can't give you $100,000 because of X, Y, and Z. We can pay you $56,000 in this scenario because we're planning to put 30 into it, and we need to get a 10% cash on cash return. Oftentimes when you can explain yourself and give some ideas, not that you need to give your whole business plan out, but just a little more context rather than I'll give you 50 cash for it, like some people do. So anyway, this is my favorite tool here, the offer calculator. But again, Deal Check does have reports and sharing as well. So the good thing about this is you can share it via PDF or you can copy it out to a report. And we'll take a quick look at what that report looks like. Pop-ups are blocked. Let's do that real quick. So let's view this. Okay, it spits out a nice report here. A little more, I think I'll say a little more detailed than BiggerPockets, which can be a good or bad thing depending on, if you want private investors, they really kind of only want to see the very important figures. They don't want to get out to 30-year deal projections. So, but I think Deal Check has solved for that. So if we go back to Deal Check, you can actually pick what you want to be in this report. Do you want rental comps? Nope. I do want sales comps. So you plug those in. I don't want charts. I don't want photos. So everything's very configurable. Oh, include notes. There's a section for notes on here. So if I want to say, when we share out to private lenders and say, hey, this is the plan for this property. We're going to buy it, put 30 into it, cash out, refinance at that time, give you your money back, and we're going to hold the property from that point forward. So in BiggerPockets, there really wasn't a spot to do that, which I'm not a big fan of. However, you can always explain that via email as well, or as you're walking through it over the phone with your investors. But we like this because it's all in one shot. Once you get comfortable with these private lenders, you just pump it out to them. Hey, I just pumped over something to your email, or I sent you a link. I texted you a link. Check it out. Let me know if you're interested. And not, no worries. We'll catch you on the next one, kind of thing. So with that, that's really the big pieces here. One other piece in Deal Check that you don't get over in BiggerPockets is property owner lookup. So you can look up the current owner's name, obviously the address, whether or not it's owner occupied, the last sale history. This can be found on your local auditor site, so it's not a big material difference, but putting it all in one spot can help you, especially if you need to get through 10 to 15 deals that come across your desk in a day. This is an easier way, in my opinion, than going through BiggerPockets, because you can pump through here, pump in addresses, and it spits out numbers right away without you having to go back to the starting point, do address, purchase price, etc. And you can crank out offers very quickly using that offer calculator. So with that being said, I think by now you can probably tell I'm a much bigger fan of Deal Check just because of the speed, efficiency, and the way you can get through these deals. However, I will give BiggerPocket more of the pros. If you are a beginner and you're just coming in, they have a lot of those helpers that help you walk through that. However, Deal Check does have a glossary with lots of terms. You can do lots of educating on Deal Check as well. All right, so lastly, if we're going to compare and contrast these, we got to talk about the cost and what you get. All right, so I just logged out of these just to check the cost, and obviously BiggerPockets comes with much more than just a calculator, but if you want access to it, you got to pay to play, right? So you do get here on the pricing plan for BiggerPockets, you can get up to 5 lifetime reports, so you can run through 5 of these to see if you like it on BiggerPockets. Only do get those 5, and then it goes to $39 a month or $32 if you pay on a yearly basis to get access to their fair rental property calculator. Obviously, you get much more than that is here as well, to be fair, but if you want the calculator, this is what it's going to cost you. Versus if we come over here to Deal Check, their starter plan is up to 15 saved properties. So you can get up to 15, wipe them out, and start all over. So effectively, you can use Deal Check free forever. The one downside is you do not get access to that favorite piece that I told you guys about, that offer calculator. So it's up to you to decide if you want to use that or not. They also offer 2-week free trial on all their premium plans. This next one up, for $10 a month, you do get access to that purchase offer calculator. In my mind, that's really the only piece you need. Like I said, you don't get access to the property owner lookup. You can do that on your county's auditor site, and property reports. If you need those, hey, it might be worth it when you get to that point. But you can also customize and do your own thing to create reports and customize rental comps. That's going to be on you. Decide whether or not the Pro or the Plus might be a good deal. But for $10 a month to crank through these and be able to spit out offers quickly, I think this is a win all day in my book. So as you can see, we use both of these products, and they are both great tools, A+ products out there in the market, but we're comparing the best of the best. So I hope you got some value out of this, and I hope this helped shape your decision on what product you're going to implement in your business. If there's something I didn't cover that you think would be helpful to see, drop a comment below and I'll tee that up for another video. If you're a Deal Check or BiggerPockets user, drop that in the comments as well so I can see what the audience out there is using, and tell me why you picked that over the other. But guys, with that, I'm Tyler Waverung, and we'll catch you next time.